Hey witches, welcome to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy, a magical living podcast for the busy witch. I'm Morgan, eclectic witch of almost 25 years, Avalon priestess, and busy witch. Here we'll talk all things witchy, from current metaphysical happenings to my busy witch tips and tricks, and everything in the in-between. This podcast is my personal journey, filled with my knowledge, opinions, and unique way of looking at the world. Join me as I weave the magical and the mundane in every episode. Hey witches, welcome back to Busy, Gritty, Inked and Witchy. I'm Morgan, and today I am talking about my insights from the Witches Bazaar. Yes, our first hosted in-person event was this past weekend, and don't worry, this episode is not going to be just a recap of the Witches Bazaar. I do want to go over some things that happened, fill in, for those who were here, you get a little bit of behind the scenes, but for this episode, I want to share more of the energetics of this past weekend and fun lessons that I learned, wisdom that I gained, and just the craziness that was this past weekend. So for those who don't know what I'm talking about, this past weekend on October 12th, we had our Witches Bazaar. We opened up our office here in Tucson. We had 25 other vendors. We had food trucks in the parking lot. And we were expecting somewhere around 500 to 1,000 people total to show up over the 6-hour event. That did not happen. We did not have a people clicker, which we realize now that has gone onto the list of things that we will be acquiring the next time we do this. But about 15 minutes in, maybe 20 minutes into the event, we had to shut the door and start a line outside because we were at absolute max capacity for our office. People could not move around. It was insane. The line kept going for 4.5 hours of the 6-hour event. Yeah, we think we had somewhere around 2,000 people show up, if not somewhere in the 1,500 to 2,000 range. And so because we were thinking that this was going to be just a quote unquote regular type of craft fair, there were a lot of things we had to do on the fly. There was a lot of problem solving that had to occur. I unfortunately could not even be at the table. Renee and Megan, Texas Megan, ran the table for me. So I didn't even get to meet our customers. I was so busy running around because we just had one thing after the other happen during it. And I found out that I'm pretty good under pressure. Yeah. So it was an absolutely insane event. All of the vendors, or the ones that I have spoke to, said that this was probably the most profitable event they've ever done, including multiple day events. It was insane. Some of the readers, I don't think got a break. They did readings, for the whole 6 hours. It was insane. It was an amazing event. So, of course, there were a lot of things that I learned because of just the absolute insanity and chaos from the event. But I'm going to share 4 things with you that aren't just like surface things. Like we learned about the people clicker, the little to like see how many people we have coming in. That's a mundane thing. Okay. I'm going to share 4 spiritual things, 4 energetic things, 4 deeply insightful things that I learned. Okay. So the first one is people, and mostly vendors, kept asking me, how did you do this? Okay. And my answer was, I just did it. And while I completely understand that sounds like a cop-out answer, it is not. And there's actually so many more layers to that answer that I'm going to share with you all today. So there are certain things that I have gone and done in my life that have had the same energy, okay, as the Witches Bazaar. This includes launching our subscription box. This includes launching our Advents, our Witchy Advents. This includes the new office, or the office that we're sitting in right now that we've had for 2.5 years. This includes my podcast, my Patreon, the Witches Bazaar. All of these things have had this same energy. And that energy is, I just did it. I did it because I wanted to. I didn't think too much into it in the beginning. I just said, well, I want to do this and I'm going to do it. And I was sitting there, I was journaling this weekend, after it was all said and done, because I wanted to really dive into the energetics of how successful and how amazing it was. And I wanted to celebrate it, but I wanted to celebrate it on so many levels, even like the spiritual level. So that's what I realized, is all of these things are things that I just one day was like, you know what? I see a need for this and I want to do it. And I'm going to do it. And not only can no one stop me from doing it, but I don't care how it turns out. I just want to do it because I want to do it. Or I want to do it because I want to have fun. Okay? I mean, God, this extends back when I opened my brick and mortar store when I was in my early 20s. Who opens up a witchcraft store in the deep, deep, deep South Carolina? No one does, but I was like, I want to do it. And so I did it. Believe it or not, I've written a parenting book when I was a mom blogger. I used to be a mom blogger. There's a fun fact for you. I said, I want to write a book. And everyone was like, oh, are you going to do a book proposal and send it to a publisher? I was like, no, I'm going to self-publish it because I just want to write the book because I want to. It wasn't a great seller, but I did it because I wanted to, So this is the energy that has gone into many things in my life, apparently, but it's turned out to be many successful things. And I know I just said the book wasn't a bestseller, but I did it. I wrote a book. I self-published it. That is a huge accomplishment for a person, So whatever it was, whatever it has been, it was something I wanted to do. It set my soul on fire. I was motivated. It made me happy. And so I did it and I made it happen. And whatever it was, I took the necessary steps to make it a success, or I took the necessary steps to cover all my bases. But in the end, it came down to the energy behind it was, I wanted to do it, so I did it. And that's how you should be with your magic. That's how I feel like, or the greatest things from me have come from me from that manner. I wanted to do it, so I did it. And it's not like a selfish thing. It's not like a self-centered thing. It's not like a bratty thing. It doesn't come from a bratty place inside of me. It comes from an empowered, confident place. And I'm just like, that would be fun. I think I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it. And I release myself from the outcome as well. So like, for example, I have no idea how many people listen to my podcast. I could check stats. I could. I can see, like the views count on YouTube. And I have a stats section of where I upload my podcast. But I don't know how many people listen to my podcast every week because I don't care. And I don't mean that from like a negative standpoint. I mean that from I'm going to show up and continue to do the podcast, whether I have one listener or 1 million listeners. So that's the energy behind doing things that I want to do, and then they turn out to be successful as I release myself from the outcome of the thing that I'm putting out into the world. I do it because I want to, not to get a certain result, not to get approval from somebody else, not to get validation. I do it because I want to. So that was my tip number 1. That was my thing that I learned, number 1. Number 2. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. So something that I learned this weekend was that being around so many amazing, creative people definitely inspired me to be more creative. There's a couple of different quotes out there, a couple of different sayings they all boil down to something along the lines of surround yourself with people who push you to be better or people who lift you higher. And this weekend showed me that. When I looked around at 25 other vendors and readers, tarot readers, astrology readers, but like 25 other people who are there saying unapologetically, this is what I like doing and I want to share it with you. Whether they are selling gemstones or whether they were making earrings, making altar items, doing tarot readings. It's so much energy of I'm creative. I have this creative flame inside of me and I want to share it with the world. And being surrounded by that, I was like, oh, I do not nurture my creative flame enough. I want to do that. And it inspired me so much. So if any of the vendors are listening to my podcast, thank you, thank you, thank you. You all helped me awaken something within me that has been just for a while now. I think I said last week's episode, I think I did. I may have actually said it in the Patreon video. Sometimes there aren't words for things I want to say, so I will just make a sound that hopefully perfectly portrays what I'm trying to say. But that energy sticks with you. That energy as a creator, as a creative person, you look around and you see, and there were so many different things too. Oh my gosh. So you look around and you see the huge array of creativity. It just blows your mind away. Blows your mind away. Yeah, sure. It blows your mind. It was so breathtaking. It was so beautiful. And it was definitely inspiring for me. All right, flipping the page. Okay. Number 3. So I am definitely in the middle of some kind of transformational shift. I have been for a little while now, but it is really starting to amp up. Okay. And I knew it. I could feel it. I have had some synchronicities. I've had some things that have told me, that I'm in the process of it, or like it's about to just completely open wide. Ugh. I cannot talk today. So, and I apologize because now I don't edit this stuff out. So for those of you just listening to the podcast, normally I would edit this shit out, but I do it for the YouTube now too. So you're just going to get me unedited, unfiltered. Anyway, huge awakening in process. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. So for me, this was pinpointed or supported by the arrival of a baby rattlesnake to our Witches Bazaar this weekend. Yes, you heard me right. I would say about an hour into it, and again, pure chaos, okay? About an hour into it, someone comes and gets me and says, hey, you're one of the organizers, right? And I'm like, yes. And they're like, there's a baby rattler over on the side of your building. And I'm like, excuse me? And sure enough, there was. Now, you guys, we have never seen a baby rattlesnake. We've been here 2.5 years. I've never seen a snake. Okay? Never seen a snake. But there's one curled up underneath the bushes right next to the sidewalk where people are walking to get into my event. So I had to call 911. And at first, my phone didn't connect to 911, which when I am dreaming and I hit a lucid dream state, like my lucid dream trigger is of my phone. So in a dream, if I go to call someone or text someone and my phone doesn't work, that's my lucid dream trigger. So then I know it signals that part of my brain like, hey, you're dreaming. And then I can wake up and control the dream and lucid dream, and it's really fun. But that is my lucid dream trigger. So I'm sitting there in the office and I'm like, I know that the city of Tucson, the police, the fire department don't handle snakes, but I don't know who the fuck else to call. And I'm in the middle of an event and this is just absolutely insane. So I call 911 and then my phone didn't connect. And I literally sat there for a second like, oh my God, I'm in a dream. My phone is not connecting to 911. This is a dream. And that makes so much more sense now as to everything that's going on. And then all of a sudden I hear 911, what's your emergency? And I'm like, oh shit. Okay, back to reality it is. This is real. So snakes represent transformation, shedding the old to make way for the new. Okay, rattlesnakes specifically are also very, they deal with protection, they deal with healing, following your instincts, all of that. But snakes as a whole represent transformation and growth and expansion. Okay, so here it is. I already know that I'm in a transformational shift. And for those who are members of the podcast Patreon tier, you're going to get to hear more of this in the bonus content for this episode. But I already knew that I was in the middle of this transformational shift. I've had all kinds of signs and synchronicities and everything. And then to have a baby rattlesnake just show up at the Witches Bazaar, holy shit. Like, message received. Thank you, guides. Now, Can we not I'd send snakes, because I'm not a fan of snakes. Okay, although I did stand right next to this guy. Like, and babies you're not supposed to, because babies are spastic and they can't control the venom. And, so like, I should have been further away from this damn rattlesnake than ever. But instead we put some chairs around it, directed people around it, and had to wait for because 911 works with snake wranglers, like people that come. So then she came up, but it took her 30 minutes to get out there. And so that was crazy too. Anyway, it was just like in the middle of chaos and all of that, we have a baby rattlesnake. Okay. It was also pinpointed to, I'm glad I have notes because I will go on tangents, you guys. Yesterday, we actually had a huge grasshopper get into the office, and grasshoppers represent moving forward and having faith in your future steps. So I was like, wow. The wildlife around here is just fun right now. All right. And the last thing that I have for you all today is teamwork makes the dream work. And I know what I just said is tacky as all get out. I heard it. And when I wrote it down, I was like, oh God, so tacky. That is some 80s motivational shit if I've ever heard it. Teamwork makes the dream work, but it's the fucking truth. It is the truth. My team busted ass this weekend. I could have never done this event without them. Not the planning and the, executing up to the event, but the day of, they all stepped up into the most amazing versions of themselves that kept it together under pressure, went with the flow, and dominated, took control. And I fucking love that. So I am so grateful for them. And just to let you know how kind of big this is for me, I used to be a control freak. Okay. I learned throughout my past that I couldn't trust people. If I didn't do it, it didn't get done, So I don't ask for help. I do everything myself to the point of exhaustion. And it's been, over the last few years that I've really had to rely on other people and delegate stuff out, but rely on other people around me to do the things that I can't do, but also when I give them something to do, to trust that it's going to be done. And I had no doubt on Saturday, not even when basically the shit hit the fan and I had to call 911. Shortly after that, someone passed out because of the heat, and they came close to passing out because of the line and the sun. And because we had no anything in place for a line. The thought never crossed my mind that we would have a line. So of course we didn't have shade or covering or anything for these people to wait in line, because the thought, I knew that this was going to be successful, but if you've ever been to a metaphysical fair before, successful is a couple $100, and fun, and maybe you buy some stuff for yourself, or you get to know some new people, or that's successful. But a line for 4.5 hours, no way to predict that at all. So all of my team was constantly shape-shifting throughout the day. It was so gorgeous. And they all rose to the occasion. I think we all died Sunday, I know. I know for a fact many of us napped a lot on Sunday. We're still exhausted, y'all. My back still hurts. And it's days later. So anyway, learning to trust people has been huge for me. And never once this weekend did I doubt a single person. I never once thought, oh my God, what if this person can't do what they're doing right now? What if this person can't do what they were supposed to be doing today? Never once did I think that. So that was huge for me. It was amazing to know that I have that trust. So I do want to give a little shout out to them. Colin, of course, that's my husband. In-house Megan and her husband, Desi, came to take pictures. So grateful for that. Renee, who works here, Texas Megan, actually came from Texas for the event. And then my son, Gabe, and his girlfriend, Sam. Amazing. Thank you all so much. Not that, I don't know if any of you listen. I know maybe Texas Megan does. So anyway, all right. That's what I have for you all today. Those are the 4 little behind the scenes, but more insights, things that I learned during the Witches Bazaar. Is this something we're going to do again in the future? Definitely. It 100% is. I don't know at the moment what form it will take. We have several ideas for either making it happen in our same space again, but we also have different ideas for making it happen outside of our space and getting a bigger venue. I don't know when, I don't know how, I don't know where, but y'all, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it because I want to. And because it was fun. I mean, at the end of it, I look back, it was crazy, it was chaotic, it was just, I sat down. I did a few times during the 6 hours, but it was amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And it was fun and it was inspiring. And so, yes, I'm going to do this again because I fucking want to. Yeah. So I do have my Patreon shout outs for this week. So let me go ahead and give thanks for the new members. We have Vicky. Thank you. Melanie, Aaron, Angela, Sabrina, Maura, Angela's Alchemy, Lenora, and Ingrid. Those are my new Patreon paid members from last week. Thank you all so much for supporting my creative endeavors and for being here for me and for just all of that. I don't want to get too emotional because I think I cried last time. So for those of you who are like, what is this? What is this now? We do have a Patreon. It is patreon.com/inkedgoddesscreations. And I do have a free tier, and nothing is changing with the free tier. So every now and then you're going to get fun PDFs or, whatever I decide to come up with for the free tier. But I do have 3 paid tiers now, and the lowest one's only $5 a month. It is the podcast tier. But then the second tier is $9 a month. That also gets tarot readings. And then the top tier is $13 a month, and that gets you Book of Shadow pages. But of course, the top tier gets the bottom 2 tiers. The medium tier gets the bottom tier. So, and as the bottom tier is the podcast, I do a shout out. That's one of the cool things, to just tell you all thank you for subscribing. So, as we move into the darker part of the year, we're going to be getting into some heavy, fun shadow working stuff. Maybe I shouldn't have used the word heavy. That might scare people off. Fun shadow working stuff, but also heavy. In the Ink Spirit Coven, that is my online coven where I teach 1 lesson and 1 workshop a month. For the month of October, we're still working with Healing Your Witch Wound. We have a guided meditation workshop coming up this weekend. And then for the month of November, we're moving into magical waters and ritual baths. So, and that continues our journey with the element of water. In the winter, we're moving into the element of earth, and that's where a lot of shadow working is going to be happening. So I would love to have you join us. That is inkedspirit.com. You can learn more and join us there. I want to thank you all for being here, for being a listener, for giving me a platform to share my knowledge, and just have fun with me. So thank you all so much, and I will see you all next week. Bye.